Hey, you guys, thank you for tuning in to Sports and Things. I'm your host, B. We're going to talk about the Los Angeles Lakers franchise and what has been going on in these last 5 to 10 years, right? First, Jim was the president of basketball operations for the Lakers. Jeanie was really behind the scenes. She wasn't really engaged into any particular area. She was letting her brother run the team and letting her brother basically do what I guess the father put him into place to do. And we seen how bad that went. The last time Lakers won prior before Jeanie Buss took over, it was in 2010 when they won a championship with Kobe Bryant, Pau Gasol, Ron Artest, and a whole lot of other people. That was the last time the Los Angeles Lakers really was like the Los Angeles Lakers, going on playoff runs and things of that such. So after they won that, I believe maybe I guess that was the era of Jim Buss really taking over and making decisions on different things of that such. They even making the Dwight Howard deal and Steve Nash deal, and from that point, it just went downhill. It wasn't a great idea to get old players, old stars, and think that these old stars are going to put your team back in back in championship contention, not playoff, but championship contention. And we know how bad that went. Kobe Bryant ended up carrying the team to the playoffs, tearing his Achilles. And from that point, Kobe Bryant was having a downhill career from that point. If it wasn't the Achilles, it was the leg. It was just like a domino effect on his body. And Jim Buss was behind it. After that, it wasn't many good free agent signings. They signed Luol Deng, that the contract this year, his last year of being on contract with the Lakers, which that was a horrible signing. It was just a whole lot of bad decision making from the front office. Like, just bad. It's like, when somebody is making bad decisions, because it keep on showing every area that, it can show. So from that point, Jeanie Buss went on, I believe was his first take was with the host and them, and she was talking about basically taking control. She gonna give her brother some more time, which she should have already. It should have been no more time for Jim Buss. From that point, from just the Lakers being in that state of just hecticness and not success at all, and you give your brother more time to continue to screw up the franchise. I'm being real. We don't make good free agency signing through our seasons. We don't draft I don't feel like the Lakers have a great drafting room. And sometimes I feel like Lakers just draft what's on the top board at that point, with no real study and homework behind that draft pick. It was like, okay, this person on board is a top pick. Everybody's saying that this player should be the next so-and-so. This player should be the next so-and-so. And they have no real just strategy to drafting. We drafted a lot of people over the years, from Jordan Clarkson, Julius Randle, D'Angelo Russell, Brandon Ingram. And these players, Josh Hart, and these players are doing well with their team. You got Jordan Clarkson, $6 million a year. You got Julius Randle. He's stepping to become a star. If he can control his anger and things of that such. Brandon Ingram, I feel like he already a star in a sense, because he continued to give you what you expect from him. That's 20 points, and he continued to do it. And D'Angelo Russell, he took some time to find his rhythm in the NBA, and I think he found it with the Timberwolves. And I feel like he found it with the Timberwolves. I think he found his role. I think he found a home that he felt comfortable playing. He showed sometimes glimpses of star ability when he was at Brooklyn and stuff like that such. But I say all that to say this: it doesn't work for the Lakers. All them stars or all them able bodies, or I can say, what I can say, I don't want to say all them stars. I don't want to put just stardom on them, but all them players that contribute to their organization and their franchise right now, we had them. But when they were with the Lakers, it just they could not find their groove. And excuse me for getting Kyle Kuzma as well, but they just cannot find their groove with the Los Angeles Lakers. I don't know, being a Los Angeles Lakers bring a lot of pressure, bring a lot of this unease feeling because it's in Los Angeles and people expect so many great things from a team, and sometimes people don't have a real they're not being realistic. A team gotta first find an identity. A team gotta first grow together. A team gotta first find the chemistry with each other so they can be successful on the court. I don't care if you have all these superstars on your team, but if the chemistry isn't there, if the train isn't running from the front to the back correctly, then you're not gonna be successful on the court. So, and I say that to say Jeanie Buss, she need to make proper decisions. She need to have a more strong iron hand, iron fist towards different things. To me, Rob Pelinka was not a great hire to me, to be a GM. I think now he's president of basketball operations, but I didn't think that was a great move. A GM, he was just Kobe Bryant's agent, and whoever else agent he was an agent. To me, to feel like he can fit a role in to be a GM or to be a head of president, of operations of basketball for the Lakers was just crazy to me. Yet again, I feel like they were doing the safe move, just grabbing somebody, hiring somebody. It was a safe move. It wasn't a difficult move. It wasn't like, it was a safe move. They didn't go out here and go to the extent of finding a real good GM. A GM that probably had promise. A GM that probably already had past experience. None of that. They just went out there. Kobe Bryant went out there and felt like, he worked with Kobe. And I don't know, maybe Kobe Bryant spoke about him as well. But, he worked with Kobe. He can be a great GM. And I don't think sometimes people got to understand, people are in different fields for a reason. That's why the agents don't play sports. They just agents. That's why the basketball players don't be agents, they players. So I think people are in certain roles for a reason. And I feel like Los Angeles Lakers should understand that. I feel like Jeanie Buss should understand that. And then when you have Magic, right? And then a legend for the Los Angeles Lakers, a guy that understands the game more than an agent because he played the game at a high level. And then you get him as well. And I think he had like a rover type of spot. A rover meaning basically he was just all over it in different areas that I guess Jeanie Buss needed him to be when asked. So I don't think he really had a certain role. I guess they just took what he was talking about in a real understanding way. And I think I think he was the president of operation. Yeah, I believe you. I think Magic was the president of operation, and Rob Pelinka was just a GM. And then when you have your GM and your president of operations going with each other, and for her not to step in and be like, hey, and to be strong, we must know we can't waste our time arguing with each other, because if we have a problem inside the franchise, then it's gonna leak into other areas. She should have let them be known. Your job is this, your job is that. If you have a question or you have suggestions, let's come to the table, all of us, and act like adults and let's try to come up with a plan that's gonna work for us, in which it's gonna lead to being successful. And I don't think that happened. Jeanie Buss just let Magic walk out the door after he made the move, after he put the plan in place to even get Anthony Davis. All Rob Pelinka did was just follow the plan. He didn't come with that plan. That's why after that plan was already dead, he didn't know he had no more moves, right? He had no more moves. He started doing these pointless moves, doing these pointless signing. He wasn't going out there to look for players that can really, really help the Los Angeles Lakers, not just win that season, but to possibly be in the purple and gold for the next 3 to 5 seasons, right? He didn't do that. They got Anthony Davis. They ended up winning the championship, and I think he thought everything was great. We got a strong team, in which they wasn't a strong team. It's just that year the Lakers was just playing just lights out. And I'm gonna be honest. I like the Lakers. I'm not throwing no shade at no franchise, but in that setting, in that gym setting, and things of that such, and y'all not being able to go home and see y'all family, and y'all gotta basically live and eat basketball. So it made the team close. You're the only person I get to see. You're the only person I get to interact with. I can't really go home. I can't really do all my. It was strict being out there in Orlando when they had the bubble. So I think that was one of the calls where they really started playing at the top level that they played, right? So then after all that, they let Magic walk out the door. I don't feel like Jeanie Buss really made her fist or made her presence be known. Like, I want you to stay. Whatever issues going on with you and Rob Pelinka, let's sit down and let's discuss them, because I feel like you are a treasure to us. Like, you know about the game. You played the game. You are one of the greats. Why would I let you walk out for what? And you can tell Magic still want to be with the Los Angeles Lakers franchise. He still want to be in the office. To always tweeting about it, to always talking about it. You can tell the passion and that he really bleed purple and gold, because he wants them to be so successful. And I'm pretty sure just watching the Lakers this year, it's like, what the heck happened, right? Like, what happened? So, and it just showed it showed that Rob Pelinka isn't a great GM right now. To go out here this summer and to do the thing that he did, to get Russell Westbrook, and then they say ask AD and LeBron. AD and LeBron are players, right? They are not GMs. They are not front offices. They are players. Of course, everything looked good from the outside, but we wasn't with Russell behind the scenes in other franchises, right? And you got LeBron James, who also is a dominant ball player. He needs the ball in his hand majority of the time. So how did they think that was going to work with bringing Russell Westbrook, who is a ball dominant point guard, to take the ball out of his hand? You ask him to be successful? He have not done that his whole career. He only been successful because he had the ball in his hand. He had teams that believed in him and trusted him. And I don't feel like the Lakers have that, right? I don't feel like the Lakers looking at Russell as he's a knockdown shooter, and he never was a knockdown shooter. So when you take the ball out of his hand, now you're taking away his ability to be that explosive player that you have seen and witnessed over the past 10 years. So now y'all getting mad and feel all this other stuff, but you took this main thing that make him that future Hall of Fame that he's going to be when he retire. You took that away from him. You have LeBron that holds the ball and that give the ball or move the ball around, because he a dominant ball player, right? So you can't go and ask players these things. You have to be the decision making behind this type when it comes to this side of the business. You know about playing on the court. I know about behind the court. I know about what player who I should go after, what player I should sign. I know about my salary cap. That's what we know. You know about yourself and your game. You can't go to these players and ask these players things like that, because they are players at the end of the day. And of course, looking at this elite star, I want on my team, right? But everything else fell flat. You didn't bring any wing threat, no wing defender, no wing shooter. You didn't bring no knockdown shooters. You did not bring any of that to the Lakers. You just filled your roster up with old stars that's not in a prime. The only person that's in a prime still is AD. And he's injury prone, so it don't work like that. And what you did basically is threw a team together we didn't seen already when Kobe Bryant tore his Achilles. Getting these old washed up stars and then expecting them to be the stars they was when you seen them playing at a high level, right? And then this is the outcome. A struggling team. A team that had all the potential to be successful, but they struggling because they don't have an identity. They don't have great chemistry. You can tell on the bench. Everybody look out of sync. You brought all these old players. You brought in Trevor Ariza. You brought DeAndre Jordan. And you brought a lot of old Beesmore, these older players, but you didn't bring enough young players. You got none. You got Monk. You know what I mean? You got the rookie, but you didn't bring in enough. You got THT, but you didn't bring in enough young as well and shooters. So now you got all these old guys, and you expecting these guys to go out here and do the thing they used to be doing in their prime. Only person who's still playing like in their prime is you would never come across this in life. It's LeBron James. Dropping 50 plus points, just carrying the Lakers. Tired, carrying them. So I look at her and say, it's your fault. You have not stepped up to be the head of all this. You haven't. I don't see your fist. And then you go out here and you sign Frank Vogel. Frank Vogel, prior to coming to the Lakers, he didn't even win 30 games in Orlando. You sign this coach with no real understanding to what he gonna bring. You had Tyronn Lue that shows you that he can coach. And you pick Frank Vogel over him. 2 seasons ago, prior to coming to the Lakers, he couldn't even win 30 games in Orlando. Not even 27. And you let him come to the Lakers, and then you thought he was supposed to bring defense. Yes, then put him as on the coaching staff, but not at the head. You could have said, no, I want you and I want Tyronn Lue. But I want Tyronn Lue to be the head coach. You could even ask Tyronn, would you mind bringing Frank Vogel on as one of your assistant coach? Do you mind bringing him on as one of your assistant coach? So, yet again, all I see is bad decision making for Jeanie Buss. Bad for letting her brother continue to run him after she already seen her brother not being successful. 2, putting Rob Pelinka at a GM who have no prior history to being a GM, right? 3, letting Magic Johnson walk out the door while out trying to stop him, right? And then the 4th one, hiring bad coaching. Frank Vogel doesn't deserve a head coaching job. Frank Vogel one of his best coaching thing was when the Lakers won a championship. And they was in a bubble. Everybody was so locked into basketball, you had no distractions. It wasn't like I leave this game, I go home for 2 days, or I go to practice, I go home, and I still can go out, I can go do this. It's none of that. It was locked in. They go to the court, then go back to the room. Go to the court, go back to the room. They was locked in. You don't have to coach in no gym setting like that. LeBron James and people, and Rondo and all of them they were veterans, so they already knew what they needed to do, and they did it. So this thing I'm talking about is Jeanie Buss. Is Jeanie Buss want the Lakers to get back to the star status they used to be in and used to being under? Jeanie Buss must make the tough decisions. She must make the decision that people don't really like to make. She must fire coaches. She must fire GMs. She must seek better things, better players. You say, know what? Even with AD, she gonna have to not even people think, GM, no. Jeanie Buss gonna have to rethink this summer. What am I going to do with AD? And I'm going to continue to let him stay here and continue to let his value drop? Because if he's not on the floor again next season, his value going to drop. He's not going to look desirable to other franchise. Or am I going to trade him and cut my ties, get some picks, get some young talent, and rebuild this team? Not for to win next year, but to win the next 6 to 10 years from now. To look for the next superstar going to help carry the Lakers into the promised land. Jeanie Buss must step up. When you ask for the keys to the kingdom, you must be the king. You cannot be the servant. You cannot be the common people. You must be the king. You must step up. You must make the decisions that you need to make, and you must do it well. Seek help. Seek help. Look at your office and say, well, how can I improve my office? Improve it. Because right now, Lakers is going downhill. LeBron James can ask for a trade, and now you back at square one again. Jeanie Buss, step up. Stop being too much of a pushover. But like I always tell y'all, when y'all talking to me, when I'm talking to y'all, I'm on the West Coast. Peace.
Like, comment, and subscribe, and follow us on Instagram at Sports in Things.